Happy Friday, everybody. Glad it's Friday, November 22nd, 2013. Welcome aboard. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, your host, for the next 2 hours of some jaw-breaking, jaw-dropping, jaw-dropping, myth-breaking, myth-busting, having to do with all things medical, because we are suffering needlessly in this country, because we all go to the MDs for chronic health conditions, and that's the last thing in the world they're good for. The first thing in the world they're good for is surgery and trauma. The last thing they're good for is everything else. But we don't know any better, so that's what we do, and then we end up sick and suffering and broke, and we don't know there's a different way. Well, guess what? There is a different way, and it's delivered and developed by licensed physicians trained in alternatives to drugs and surgery. How about that? Did you know that there was a medical profession that existed that's licensed and regulated, the doctors of which are trained in the clinical application of science-based therapeutics, the intention of which is to make your body better, is to actually support and promote your body's ability to heal itself? Did you know that we existed? Most people don't, which is why this radio show is growing in popularity in leaps and bounds, because everybody needs to know what we bring to the table and nobody does. We're like the people years ago running around who figured out how to make fire, right? You scrape some flint against a rock and boom, you get fire. Oh, how about that? Imagine that. That was a big breakthrough back in the day. Before that, the member of the tribe that was engendered with the mission to keep the fire burning had a crazy, horrible job. They had to wait until lightning struck a tree. Then they had to go grab a branch. Then they had to keep it burning for years and years and years. I mean, that's no fun. So, you know, we move a pace, a slow pace, and we learn as we go. And the skill set that we bring to the table is unique in the world. There's only a handful of physicians who have any clinical experience with this methodology at all. There's only a handful, and that's why we have a radio show to broadcast our message as quickly and as rapidly and as far as possible. And, you know, we are in the business of bending minds. We are in the business of helping to break through people's preconceived notions. People will tell you that type 2 diabetes is genetic, and Roberto from Michigan's on the line. We're going to go to him in a minute. His entire family is diabetic, but it's not genetic. If it was genetic, number one, I couldn't fix it. I can't fix the color of your hair, can I, from the inside out? I mean, you can go to the hairdresser and they can color it, but when the dye wears out, your old color comes back. I can't fix the color of your eyes. I can't change the fact whether you're right-handed or left-handed. I can't change your sex. Can't do that. Well, you know, the Swedish doctors can, but not really. They got to drug you up with hormones in order to even approximate different sex. There are certain things that are, if I can't change your nationality, I can't change you from Hispanic into Swedish. Can't do that. Those things are genetic. You can't change Down syndrome. That's a bad gene expression, a bad chromosomal damage to a chromosome caused by zinc deficiency, I believe, or iron deficiency. I think it's a zinc deficiency. But once that switch has been flipped, once that genetic chromosomal switch has been flipped, you can't unflip it. So if type 2 diabetes, if high blood pressure, if asthma, if all of the things that the MDs say were in point of fact genetic, we would not be able to help people. Same reason I can't cure Down syndrome, can't do it. So, but all of the time we have people with diabetes who come to us with definitive diagnosis of type 2 diabetes, and they go on our program for 3, 4, 5 months and the blood sugars normalize. They normalize without medication. They normalize, so that means no more type 2 diabetes. And even though we've had thousands of people who have experienced that, the FDA says we can't say we cure it. We don't even treat it, for goodness sake. That's a subject for a whole nother lecture, don't you think? I think so. We've had Jonathan Emord in the past to talk to us about this ridiculousness perpetrated on the scientific community by the Food and Drug Administration. It's a big, bad voodoo daddy, the FDA. Big, bad voodoo daddy. I think we'll have Jonathan Emord back in January to bring us up to date with what's going on here. But in point of fact, what we are in the business of is busting myths. Not because we're smart, Alex, but because people are misinformed about some really pretty fundamentally important things. We're misinformed about some really pretty fundamentally important things, like the nature of type 2 diabetes. What causes type 2 diabetes? What causes high blood pressure? What causes congestive heart failure? What causes cardiomyopathies? What causes asthma? What causes arthritis? What causes hepatitis? What causes heartburn? Your MD is not concerned with the causative factor, which is, just go to Wikipedia and look up a disease. They'll either tell you that it's suspected to be genetic, or the cause of the illness is unknown, or it's autoimmune. And then you ask them, well, what causes an autoimmune disease? And nobody knows. And the gene or the antibody that's present that makes the doctor definitively diagnose it as an autoimmune disease is only present in about 60 to 70% of the people that have the disease. Well, what about the other 40% who don't have the antibody? What's going on? The MD doesn't know, and they don't care. And see, this is a big deal here in the United States. Quite frankly, it's no different in Europe. It's a big deal because people incorrectly assume that their medical doctor knows what's best for them, and that their medical doctor actually gives a crap about the genesis of their illness and what they can do to cure it. But they don't. You don't believe me? It's easy to see. Just take your head out of the sand and look around. Can your medical doctor cure heartburn? No. As simple a thing as heartburn, the MD can't get on the other side of. Why? Well, I don't know why. We get on the other side of it all the time, but the MD is not trained to be concerned with the causative factor of heartburn, nor are they trained to be concerned with the causative factor of arthritis or type 2 diabetes or any other chronic illness for that matter, because their fundamental philosophy is your body was an accident of nature. It was a coincidental happenstance of biochemistry. As you get older, your body is imperfect, and therefore, as time goes by, things are going to break, and it's just life, and you just got to shut up and go along for the ride, and it's the luck of the draw. You got the bad sugar gene. No, you didn't. You got the bad joint gene. No, you didn't. You got the bad doctor. You took the wrong dog to the hunt. You didn't even know there was another dog, because the AMA keeps all other dogs off of the field. My profession's only licensed in 16 states. It's illegal for me to practice medicine in Illinois. How about that? Gotta love it. So, in point of fact, what we are in the business of here is opening people's minds to a different way of looking at things and showing people the way that the MD looks at things. I'm not criticizing the MDs. I'm just calling a spade a spade. I'm showing people how the MDs think. We're pulling back the curtain, showing the MDs in their undies. Well, this is how they think. This is how they look, and this is how they think, and this is what they do. Now, once you know how they look and how they think and what they do, it's a relatively free country, more or less, kind of, sort of. You still have the option of not going to them. You don't have to go to them. Obama's trying to make you buy insurance to make it mandatory to give you access to them. That's a fool's errand. But, you don't have to go to the MD. You don't. No one's holding a gun to your head and forcing you to go to the MD. And this is where we fit in. Because we fill the gap, and it is a gigantic gap. We fill the void, and it is a massive void of suffering. Everybody's sick. Everybody is sick. Look around. I mean, I'm 54 years old. When I was a little kid, I can't remember this many people being sick. Of course, I didn't have my fingers on those pulse, but I didn't know anybody with Alzheimer's. Now it's the sixth leading cause of death, and I didn't have any of my friends, my playmates, my schoolmates, my chums. Nobody had autism. Now it's 1 out of 50. 1 out of 50 kids has autism. What happened? Did all of a sudden the awesome autism gene express itself and it's been laying dormant for 3 million years? Whoa, is that what happened? Was there asteroid dust that the Earth flew through the tail of a comet and all of a sudden the autism genes filtered down through the atmosphere into drinking water? Is that what happened? No. The reason that there's so much autism is because in the last 100 years, the MDs have dominated the medical theater. And because the MDs have dominated the medical theater and kept everybody else out, we are all dancing to the tune that they play. And when you follow the advice of your MD, when you eat whatever you want, when you pay no attention to the intrinsic nutritional needs of your body, when you exercise all of the time without filling the tank up again from all of the nutrients that you just burned through with exercise, you're going to become nutritionally deficient. When you get pregnant, your child is not going to be able to develop appropriately in the womb because your body's out of juice. That's why there's so much infertility now. That's why there are so many kids born autistic, because we listen to the MDs and they are clueless about what to do to keep you healthy. For goodness sake, ladies and gentlemen, fire your medical doctor today, fire your medical doctor tomorrow, go back in time and fire your medical doctor 50 years ago. It'll be the best thing you could ever do. Cancel your comprehensive medical insurance, buy catastrophic instead, and use the money you save to buy vitamins. Get a clue. Get your health back. Live long and prosper. That's our message. Stick around. Going to Michigan when we come back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Happy to be here. Happy it's Friday. Well, if you want to get off of that rate, right? If you want to get out of that rat race, join Longevity. Start a home-based business and check it out. Dip your toe in the water. See if it works for you. It either is going to work for you or it's not. We can show you how to get a couple $100 worth of vitamins a month. Best vitamins in the world, by the way. Science-based, clinically verified, for free. I can also show you how to make a couple of extra $100 a month on top of that. And if you want, I can show you how to make a couple of $1,000 a month on top of that. And if you really want to grab the bull by the horns, I can show you how in a few years to replace your JOB with longevity income and then set you up for life with residual income. Residual income. There are over 250 multi-million-dollar earners with longevity. And they're not any smarter than you. They just learned our simple system and duplicated and repeated and had fun and duplicated and repeated and had fun by lifting their community members into health. You want to do that? I want to help you do that. Give us a call, 855-347-3696, 855-347-3696. That's the info line to get information about our health opportunity or the business opportunity. Let's go to Michigan now and see what Roberto is up to. Roberto, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hey, Doc.
What's happening, Roberto?
Oh, boy. A lot. Just like to, before I start, thank Shannon May from Wichita Falls, Texas, for calling me one evening, returning my phone call, and telling me about the healing wings of Dr. Wallach. So that was a year ago this month. And in that time, I am now drinking my nutrients absolutely free, thanks to the system. And I could list 20 different ailments that are no longer a part of my family's life. But I have these two instances I'd like to talk to you about.
Great.
I have one is a chiropractor operating for 18 years in Hilton Head, South Carolina, who I'm introducing the product to, I sent him a Healthy Bone and Joint Pack for him to try it out. Also because his mom is scheduled for 2 knee surgeries and hip surgery.
Yeah.
What I would like to do is have you maybe speak for 60 seconds or so to him and encourage him to try more of the product or to jump in. He's not too concerned about the business. He doesn't want the business aspect into his business. He just wants to help his client.
Well, is he here with us? Is he on the phone with you?
No, I couldn't get him on, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because I'm an insider, I love your, absolutely, do I use your video, your webinars. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
That's how I've introduced the subject to him. I've introduced it's so many. That is just one great tool. So I'm going to cut and paste this program and scoot it over to him. Or I should say paste and, copy and whatever.
Yeah, I get you. Well, that makes you the smartest man in class, Roberto. All right, good job. And by the way, Shannon May in Texas is a Dr. Glidden insider, and she's also a staunch longevity supporter. And, this is how it works, right? Someone's told Shannon. Shannon told you. And, imagine what would have happened if nobody ever told Shannon. You'd still be in the weeds, right?
Thank you.
Exactly.
Absolutely do I give, absolutely, and it works that way. So thanks, Shannon, I appreciate it.
And that's why we do it like this. All right, Roberto, let me take the bull by the horns here and talk about this.
And the other subject, of course, is the diabetic family. So okay. Thank you.
All right, great. So we alluded to the diabetes thing in the past. The diabetes is not genetic. There's no gene that codes for diabetes. I don't care if everybody in the family is diabetic. It doesn't matter. There was a doctor in 1957. His name was Merz, I think, M-E-R-Z, or M-E-R-T-Z. I can't remember. But he could turn a type 2 diabetes on and off in laboratory mice by withdrawing or delivering the mineral chromium, a trace mineral chromium. Further research by Dr. Wallach showed that vanadium, the trace mineral vanadium, and chromium, and about 26 other trace minerals are necessary for the sugar door on the cell to open up once insulin binds to it, knocks on the door and says, hey, there's sugar out here, it wants to get in, and then a little message goes through the cell and a sugar door opens. In order for that message to get through the cell and the sugar door to open, you need minerals. More to come. Stick around. It's a long story. Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. Everybody's happy that it's Friday. Everybody except longevity distributors, because for longevity distributors, every day is happy. Well, so I guess they're happy today, too. Look, when you're your own boss, everything changes. And when you're actually making good money, even in crappy economies, everything changes. It changes. Check it out. You don't know what you're missing. Now, Roberto from Michigan is on with us, and he wants to know about what's going on with the whole diabetic thing and what do we do for joint support and why is that different than what chiropractors have been trained in. So let's let the education begin. Here's what happens when you eat something that has sugar in it. Remember, sugar is good for your body. Your genetic material is made from sugar. You couldn't blink an eyelash without it. Sugar is not the Antichrist. It's how much sugar you eat and how able your body is to metabolize it. Your very genes are made from sugar. Imagine that. So you eat something that's got sugar in it. The body senses that there's sugar in it. How does the body do that? Nobody knows. The pancreas, in response to sugar in the body, sugar in the blood, releases insulin. Insulin travels through the blood. Insulin shows up at a cell. And there's trillions of cells in your body, right? Everything is made from cells. Brain cells, heart cells, lung cells, skin cells. Everything's a cell. But the cell has a wall. And the cell's like an automobile. The cell needs energy, needs gasoline. The cell needs sugar to work. So insulin brings the sugar to the cell. Insulin binds to the cell wall, rings a bell, and if everything is right, the stuff inside the cell, the mechanics inside the cell open up a door on the cell wall, then let the sugar in. It's kind of like the UPS guy shows up at your house with a package, and he rings the bell. Now, if you answer the door and open the door, the package comes in the house. If you don't, what does the UPS guy do? He leaves the package outside. Well, it's the same thing with your body. When insulin rings the bell on the cell wall, if there are not enough minerals inside the cell, the buzzer of the bell doesn't go off. It's like somebody snipped the wires. So the UPS guy rings the bell and nothing happens because somebody's clipped the wires. You don't know the UPS guy's even there. You're in another room in the house. You have no idea he's at the front door because the bell is broken. If you don't have enough minerals inside the cell, the bell is broken. And the message that the UPS guy is there, the message that the insulin is there doesn't populate, and so the cell door stays closed. The sugar door on the cell stays closed. And so what happens? Sugar piles up in the blood. The packages pile up outside your house, right? Sugar piles up in the blood. Now, so the body senses there's more sugar in the blood, so it makes more insulin. So another insulin little molecule rings the bell on the cell wall, and then another one, 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 and then another one. And then you get so much flippin' insulin in the blood that the insulin smashes through the wall of the cell by virtue of its pressure. It's like the UPS guy, the 10,000th UPS guy gets frustrated, comes to the house and kicks the door in, kicks the door down. Now, is this good or bad? This is bad. Sugar gets into the cell when you kick the door down, but when you kick the door down, the cell becomes destroyed. And when the cell wall gets kicked in enough, the cell collapses and becomes destroyed itself. This is why with diabetics, they lose their fingers, lose their toes, lose their hands, lose their feet, lose their legs, lose their arms, lose their vision, right? It happens to diabetics all of the time. It happens to them because of insulin. That's happened to your dad, right, Roberto?
Yep, my dad died that way, yeah.
Yeah, and it's the insulin that does it. It's not the blood sugar that causes the damage. Well, the blood sugar causes a little bit of damage, but the main culprit is the insulin. Now, what does the MD give? Insulin! And I'm the quack, right? It's crazy. So they've got it backwards. Now, look, it's better to give somebody insulin than to have them die from too much sugar in the blood, which can happen. You go into a coma, you get too much sugar in the blood, and then it's lights out. But it's an inferior treatment that has ramifications downstream. Like every drug has side effects. Every drug has primary and secondary effects. Well, the secondary effect of insulin is you die. Your limbs fall off and you go blind. But the MDs they don't give a crap about this. They don't give a crap about the long-term effects of the drug because, number one, they're not trained that they can cure it. They don't care. They don't care what causes diabetes. They don't care at all. They're trained to keep you alive for 1 week. So what do? They give you insulin. Then they give you more insulin, and then they give you more insulin, and then they give you a little bit more insulin, and then you die, and then they wipe their hands, walk away, and sleep soundly at night because they have fulfilled their task. Meanwhile, the unsuspecting patient who thinks that their doctor is doing the best thing for them goes along for the ride and suffers and suffers and suffers and dies.
Sounds like my family's history. Thanks.
Yeah, and this is what passes for the best medicine in the world. And the only reason that this nonsense is able to persist in, an educated culture that we have is because of the pharmaceutical monopoly of the medical market. Yeah. The drug companies are not invested in wanting to cure diabetes. You know how much money the medical industry makes treating one type 2 diabetic for their entire life? Just type 2 diabetic. I'm not even talking about type 1. It's between $300,000 and $400,000 over their life. One patient.
Wow.
Profits the medical industry $300,000 to $400,000 in their lifetime. So they don't want to throw away that cash cow, number one. Number two, they're not trained how to cure anything. And number three, the unsuspecting public thinks that the MD knows what's best for them and does whatever the doctor says and suffer into the bargain.
Thanks on that one, Doc. Appreciate it. You know, there's type 1s and type 2s in the family, and if I were to tell them anything about their diet, could I just tell them go paleo just as a or what is the quick best way to say to somebody how to eat properly as a diabetic?
Well, you have to. It's not just a function of eating properly.
I understand it, but
it's the 1-2 punch. So anything that you can do. So if they're not going to listen to you about nutrients, then what I would do is I would go to a local funeral home. I would get a brochure and I would hand it to them, and I would say, look, I tried to tell you what the heck was going on here, but you don't want to listen. So I suggest you go and choose a plot. Make it a good one, because you've only got about 5-10 years left. And, oh, by the way, here's some pictures of people who've lost their feet, lost their toes, lost their hands. Remember they used to do that in the 60s? They used to put pictures of people with lung cancer on cigarette packs, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, yeah.
The scared straight thing, yeah.
It's like that. So, you know, I'm a tough love kind of a guy, really, when it comes to this. And it's either they're going to listen to us or they're not, and you can't do it halfway. Now, of course, any diet that's low in sugar or low in carbohydrates is going to soften the blow. But what happens there is then the person's just dragging through their life every day because it's like they're running on empty. It's like the car's out of gas.
Right.
So it's a poor payoff for, you know, an otherwise perfect life, which you could enjoy if you just mineralized your body, for goodness sake.
The father is the best golfer in our golf league.
Yeah.
The very best.
Yeah.
I think. And he's already hurting all over the place. He's in his mid-30s. And
it's unbelievable. Yeah.
And
so
that's good. Anyway.
What you could do, what people have done in the past with intransigent people like this, people who are just so thick-headed, just give them.
They're not that thick-headed. They're great people, okay?
Well, all right, but you know, whatever, right?
I understand.
You know what I'm saying. I'm not passing judgment. I'm just kind of being extemporaneous. So
I got it.
So we'll give them a bottle of plant minerals and 1 bottle of Sweeties, and say, look, do 1 ounce of the plant minerals twice a day, and do 4 of the Sweeties 3 times a day for 2 weeks. And tell me how you feel. Because he's going to feel better, guaranteed. He'll feel better, guaranteed. And that's one way we can kind of get our foot in the door and leverage the mental inertia that people have. All right, so let's talk about arthritis. It's the same thing. It's a different arm of the nutritionally deficient octopus. It's a different arm. But it's the same thing. People don't get arthritis because they have joints. The people don't get arthritis because they have an arthritis gene. There's no such thing. People don't get arthritis because they have a voodoo curse. Well, maybe if they live in New Orleans they do, but I don't know. Arthritis is caused by, it's just your joints have lost the nutrients they need to maintain their health, number one. And number two, you are unwittingly eating food every day that causes inflammation to the joint. So it's kind of like punching yourself in the arm. If every time you ate, you took a hammer and smacked yourself in the forearm in exactly the same place, after a month, you'd have a big honking bruise on your forearm. And if you kept doing that, gangrene would set in and things would go from bad to worse. Well, when you eat the wrong food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks, breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks, those straws build up and break the camel's back. And if it's your joint that's the weak link in your body, your joint goes. If it's the heart that's the weak link in your body, your heart goes. If whatever. And on top of that, the nutrients that the joints need to maintain their health are not in the food. So even if you're eating 100% optimal, fantastically great diet, the best food in the world, the stuff that your joints need to maintain their health is not in the food. It's not there. So you have to supplement. And so this begs the question, well, which supplements are best? And that is a very, very, very good question. Most chiropractors are educated in chiropractic college about a brand of nutritional supplements called Standard Process. Standard Process is a really good line of nutritional supplements, but Youngevity's nutritional supplements are better. The problem with the chiropractic profession is, and by the way, we love chiropractors. We recommend people go to chiropractors all the time. I've said it 1,000 times on this show. Finding a good chiropractor is like finding gold. Chiropractic medicine is awesomely fantastic, right? And the chiropractors don't know what they don't know, and what they're exposed to in medical school is Standard Process stuff, because the people that founded Standard Process were very, very smart. They leveraged all of the chiropractic colleges with their stuff. They gave them money in return for research dollars in return that they'd carry their stuff in the pharmacy. So a chiropractic student goes to chiropractic college for 4 years, and all they're exposed to is Standard Process nutrients. So, and nutrition is kind of a subset of chiropractic education. It's not their main thing. So then they get out of school, and they've got mortgages to pay and bills to pay and equipment to pay for and a practice to build, and they're not going to do continuing education credit in real nutrition. They're going to do what they were taught in school, Standard Process. So when push comes to shove, nutritional supplements, the rubber hits the road. Just try Youngevity. Try Youngevity. You'll see better results than with any other nutritional supplement line, and that's a good deal. Hey, Youngevity Nation, check it out. Forewarned is forearmed, starting next Friday. What's that called? Black Friday? Black Friday through Cyber Monday. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We are having all kinds of sales at fireyourmdnow.com. All kinds of stuff is going to have a 24-hour sale window, starting Black Friday through Cyber Monday. That's next Friday, week from today, through next weekend, ending Cyber Monday. But to get the details of the sales, you have to be on my email list. You have to be on my email list. So if you're not on my email list, if you're a member of Youngevity Nation and you haven't become an insider, if you're an insider, you're on the email list. If you haven't signed up for my newsletter, it's free. There's no charge for that. You're in Youngevity Nation. You're an avid listener. Go to my website and sign up for the email. Sign up for the newsletter. Give us your email address. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on the opportunities that we're offering one day at a time starting next Friday. How do you get on my email list? It's easy. You go to the website, fireyourmdnow.com, fireyourmdnow.com. As soon as you log on, a little window pops up that asks you if you would like to become to get a subscription to my free newsletter. And if you say yes and give us your email address, you are on the email list, and life is good. We're going to be sending out email blasts starting at the middle of next week. All right, probably, I don't know when we're going to start that. Sometime next week, you will be informed if you're on the email list. Check it out. Join the party, and let's all lift each other up into health and wealth. Let's go to Washington now and talk to Keith, who's been waiting very patiently. Hey, Keith, thanks for the phone call, buddy. You are live.
Yeah.
Hello, Keith.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
This is Madru. Let me get them on the line for you. Hold on.
All right. Thanks, Madru.
Okay, go ahead. You there?
Yes, I'm here. Come on in,
No,
Keith.
where's Keith? Come on. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, it's Dr. Glidden here. How can I help?
Oh, yes, sir. Hold on one moment. Yes. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, my name is Keith Lee. I'll be speaking on Sunday. I'm some medical issues that did not diagnose.
Hey, Madrew, I can't hear him at all. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to sort this out, Madrew. So you're gonna have to dial this in for me at the top of the second hour. I'll take your phone call first. Get it together. I can't hear him at all. All right. We're gonna close out the hour here with Diana in Pennsylvania, who has a daughter with menstrual cycle issues. Hey, Deanna. Thanks for the phone call. You are live. Come on, Indiana.
And my daughter's 13, and she started her menstrual cycle just this past August. She has some other issues as well. She has celiac disease. We've been gluten-free since July. However, with the menstrual cycle, she's become violent around the time of her cycle with a lot of rages. The MD wants to put her on progesterone, and I was hoping that there'd be something else that we could do for her. She is on minerals and parts of the digestive pack, but that's kind of what's going on.
All right, what's her current body weight?
145, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
And what's the cramp factor like during the menstrual cycle? Are the cramps bad?
Yes. Usually they're in her back, and she starts usually a week before, so we're coming up on another cycle.
All right, so what you want to do during that week and throughout the menstrual cycle is 1 ounce of the white liquid calcium 4 times a day. 1 ounce of the white liquid calcium in a little bit of orange juice, 2-3 ounces of orange juice 4 times a day for the week before her menses and all the way through the menstrual cycle. And then for the rest of the month, I want her to do 1 ounce of the white liquid calcium twice a day. 1 ounce of the white liquid calcium twice a day as a maintenance dose. But when things get intense, 1 ounce of the white liquid calcium in 3 or 4 ounces of orange juice 4 times a day. I'm going to bet you that that's all that you're going to need to do in addition to what you've already dialed in to get on the other side of this. Avoid progesterone. Do this first. Second hour coming up, folks. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. This is Fire Your MD Now.